Hello, it's been a while since I've done one of these YouTube live warm-ups. So preparing for a concert that's on next week. Going to be playing some Bach, some other Bach inspired pieces. So I'm just upping the practice a little bit more consistency every morning, practicing. That's probably the most important thing. If you're watching and you're not consistent in your practice, really important to be consistent, you know, like I think it's probably one of the most important things, because you can learn all this stuff about effective practice and how to make your practice more productive and all that, get results and progress and everything, but without the consistency, the daily or the regular consistency to your practice, it's very hard. I find it very hard to make progress. Personally, myself, I do feel a lot of improvement just from that one factor alone of practicing more consistently. So I encourage you to try it. Do a challenge, you know, say if you don't practice consistently every day, just try like 3 days in a row, try 7 days in a row. I do have a 7-day challenge. Let me post that in the comment. Can I do this in the, I think I can do it in the description. Let me post it in the description and in the chat. I'll post up this 7-day challenge. You can try this out. That can be a good way, good way to kind of motivate yourself to have a challenge, and each day of the challenge is a different there's a different like focus for you. So let me find this here, 7-day challenge. Here we go. I'll pop this link in the chat. Give it a go. Okay. Hello. Yes, please ask questions, Frankie. Yeah, of course. Here's the yes, of course. Pop that in the chat as well. 7-day focus challenge. Okay, yeah, ask questions, please, away you go. So yeah, consistency is really important. So I do feel progress. I feel myself getting better just from the simple discipline of practicing every day. You know, if you can find a window of time that's kind of like a regular window of time during the day, for me it's in the morning. That's when I happen to have a little bit of free time in the morning, and then once the afternoon comes, I'm very busy with the kids and teaching and, you know, doing content and stuff like that. So if I don't get my morning practice in, it's quite unlikely that I will practice much during the day. So I find it nice to do in the morning too, because it's kind of like you get it done before the day kind of gets rolling. Because sometimes when the day gets going, then it's harder to, you know, to like fit in the practice. So try and get your practice done before the day is like going, if you know what I mean. I think that can be helpful. So yeah, please, questions. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm gonna start off with a really simple exercise for slurring. Now, pretty much any guitar player can learn this. This is in the, I created a technique boot camp, and this exercise is in that, which is in the Creative Classical Guitarist. If you want to, if you want more exercises like this, you can check that out. There's a free trial to the Creative Classical Guitarist. But I'll go through this now. It's very simple, but I find very effective, very foundational. So I'm just going to start with, I'm going to slur in groups of 2 in pairs of fingers, like this. Let me slow it down a little bit. Okay, so 1 and 2, like that. Okay, but you know what? Actually, before I do this, what I really like to do before I do this kind of thing is improvise. And this is something else that I want to encourage you to do, because if you pick up your guitar and the very first thing you do is that, it's not the most it's not the most inspiring thing to do. So I would encourage you to first improvise. This is my little like, departure from the plan here. I didn't write it in the title, improvisation, but I think it's really important. If you need a starting point, I told someone recently, I said, just anything you know about theory, anything you know about harmony, about chords, you can try it out through improvisation. So if you know an E chord, all right, you can just start with that. Now I happen to know a lot of E chords. If you know E chords around the fretboard, you can go up and down the fretboard. Right, so you can do that. You can just say, can I do E around the fretboard? That's the E chords around the fretboard. If you know the concept of passing notes, non-chord tones, and so now I'm adding chords that are notes that are outside of the chord. If you know scales, obviously you can start to change chords, but anyway, I like it because to me it's much more inspiring than starting off with a boring technical exercise. Technical exercises are, I would say, necessary, but we don't have to start with them. So just a little improvisation there. Okay, we got the question now. Slurring, that's great. Slurring in Minuet in C. Which Minuet in C? I think I'm thinking you mean what is it? What is it, Aaron? No. That's good. I think I know the one you mean. Yeah, 4-note slurs. Could you explain? Okay. All right, I can start with that. I know that minuet you're talking about, pretty sure. Saw's Minuet. I think I've got a book that has that minuet in it. Let's see. Let me just find this quickly. Pretty popular classical piece by Fernando Saw. Just give me a minute here with 4-note slurs. Yeah, Fernando Saw. Here we go. This one. That's the A section and then the B section. Slurs here. So I'm just kind of sight reading this, so that's it. And then it goes to a trio. and then back to the minuet. Okay, so that's the piece, just to give you a little taste. It's a fun little piece, that one. So it might depend on the edition you have as to how the slurs are indicated. In the one I'm looking at right now, they're grouped in twos, like that. So that's one option. I think in the original, I think they're marked as one. They're all meant to be played as one, like that. I'd guess. I don't think. To me, that seems a bit heavy to do two slurs for the 4 notes there. You know, a minuet. You're gonna put it into a bit of context. A minuet. Oh, not that piece. Okay. Oh well, yeah. Can you be more specific? How many minuets in C did Fernando saw right? Okay, yeah. If you can give me an opus number, then I'd be able to find it. I can't think right now off the top of my head of another minuet. But I'll keep answering this question anyway, just in case someone's playing this one. And if you can, Frankie, if you can find the opus number. But with this particular minuet, it's a minuet, and so this answer might apply to other minuets as well. So it's a dance. It's usually has a kind of graceful, like moderate to moderately fast tempo. It's usually quite graceful and charming. So to do like heavy like slurs. I don't know. I guess you can still do it lightly, but still, to me, it's a little bit too clunky, or it's too percussive, like that. But if you do it as one slur, I think that's a bit more stylistic. I also like playing around with slurs, not always grouping them in twos. Why should we always group them in twos? Why not group them in threes or fours or more? So something to think about. Unless it's indicated in a score that is like first edition, first publication, text score, something like that. Then if it's a modern edition where they've added slurs, they've probably changed the slurs to be more modern, whatever that means. I would just take that with a grain of salt and say, and think about what you want to do with it, and think about some other possibilities. So you can have a lot of fun with that, a lot of lightness and grace. And notice how I'm also adding some articulation to about emphasizing the downbeat and giving a nice little staccato, little lift to the upbeat, and then so that's really important as well if you're playing a minuet or any kind of dance, really, to use articulation to bring out, to basically to make it sound more like a dance on a very general level. If you play it all legato, if I do it like is indicated in this score, to me that's just, that doesn't have much of a dance character. So I like to use articulation, weight, accent to bring out the dance features. Now this particular minuet, the first section is in C major. The next section goes into A minor. Okay, so a little bit of A minor is nice to play a bit with new character, a different character. Then suddenly goes to G major. We gotta tell the listener. Well, it's not even if we're not playing for someone else, we need to tell the story for ourselves, but we need to tell the listener as well. This is a change of character. Change of key is a change of character. And then we get these octaves. These are like little sneaky. And then we get the tutti, the whole orchestra comes in. And again. And then full orchestra. And then we get the different instruments here. And then single line. So this could be like a bassoon or something. Sorry, what is it? And then oboe or something. If you think that's out of style, if you think that's too many color changes, I've got some compelling evidence to suggest the complete opposite. One of my favorite quotes by Carulli, he says he sums it up in about 5 words. The right hand does not have a fixed position, or 9 words, but anyway, a short sentence. The right hand does not have a fixed position. The right hand does not have a fixed position due to the extent that you want to sweeten the sounds, to imitate the harp, or I can't remember the rest of the quote, but the right hand does not have a fixed position. Pretty clear. Fernando Saw himself said in his method, generally he would play, when he played louder, he would generally play closer to the bridge, and when he played softer, he'd play closer to the fretboard. And there's many other quotes as well. And then these guitarists like Fernando Saw and Aguado and Giuliani were imitating orchestral instruments, not like in a subtle way, in a pretty forward way, just very obvious way. So this, to me, this is really like a little orchestral piece for the guitar. And I would say any minuet by Fernando Saw would be similarly so. If you don't have dynamics marked, then you need to look at key changes. That's usually the biggest clue. Texture changes is another clue, changes of texture. If you get a single line texture, it's probably evoking like a single instrument in the orchestra. If you get big chords, it's probably evoking a full tutti, all instruments playing together. So yeah, lots of fun you can have with that. So anyway, a little bit of Saw there. Anyway, now let's talk about slurs here. So this exercise, after a bit of improvisation, right? It's nice to improvise. Now let's do this exercise. So all I'm doing here is I'm going 1, 2, 1, and then 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to go across. Same thing. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, we've got the opus number. Okay. How about I'll finish this slow warm up, and then we'll look at that minuet, opus 25, number 4. Okay. These exercises are so basic that you can actually, I can actually talk while I'm playing them, which normally I can't talk and play at the same time. So 1, 2, and then you can slide that up, and then you can speed it up if you want. Obviously, I would recommend using the metronome. Keeping your fingers in line, your wrist straight, keeping your fingers relaxed, especially the ones that you're not using. It's very common to see people do things like that. It's very common for the rhythm to get wonky. Don't just keep it nice and even, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can add a little bit of dynamics, make your tone nice, make it lyrical, la dee da dee, right? Not da 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 da. Okay. Nice and lyrical. Okay, then we go to 2 and 3. We do the same thing. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. Shift it up. Now, if you're new to this, you'll probably get, your fingers will probably get tired pretty soon. So it is a form of strength training as well. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Now I'm going to use 3 and 4, same thing. So 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Starting in the first position. Important to keep your keep your fingers placed. Keep your fingers placed directly behind the frets as much as you can, yeah? Because if your fingers are like halfway, you have to press harder to make a clear sound. So you can press very gently if your fingers are very close to the frets. And once again, you might find your fingers getting tired after a few of these. One more. Okay, so there's a little slur exercise you can try using first 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3, and then 3 and 4. Very, very basic. It's a pattern, finger pattern. So, but it's very, very helpful. It really helps to get your strength. You can work on many things. Your positioning of the thumb, keeping your wrist straight, positioning of the fingers, directly behind the frets, making sure your fingers are curled, making sure the rhythm's smooth, making sure your tone is nice and lyrical, right? All these good things. You can add dynamics as well. Obviously, you want to make the slurs even in terms of volume too. You don't want the second note to be too soft. Nice and even there. So okay, do that. All right, so let me look at this minuet here for Frankie. All right, and if you're watching and you have any other questions, even if you're watching this not live, please feel free to leave a comment. I do read comments, and I can try and answer your question if possible. So Opus 25 number 4. Saw Opus 25. Thank goodness for Google and IMSLP, and you're right. So much of this music now is public domain. We can just download it at a couple of clicks of the button. It's I like to say to my students, it's a blessing and a curse, because it's a blessing we can access all this, but then it's a curse because it's a distraction as well. So you really want to try and stay focused. All right, so which minuet is it? It's from this this piece here. Okay, theme minuet. Oh yeah, it's a little different. This score is hard to read. I need to get another one. It is a slightly different minuet, but it's very similar. It's got very similar rhythms and figurations in it. Maybe I can even pop the score on onto the screen here for you all. Let's see, this one's clearer. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look here. Minuet. I will go to here. Okay. How are we going? We've got my gear right here. Okay, so this is the score here. There's a big sonata, and it ends with a minuet. Interesting, and a trio. Okay. Let me try and read this. And then it repeats. Great writing. Now let's do the repeat. And then we go to the trio. And then we go back to the minuet, which I won't play again. Very nice. Oh, it's great writing as usual. So yeah, so in this edition I see that the slurs are marked all to be played as one slur, meaning you pluck the first note and then the rest you slur. So pluck the D and then you hammer off the C to the C, hammer off to the B, and hammer on to the C again. Like that. Now I find it helpful to actually prepare the fingers, you know, as many fingers as you can before you make the slur. So I've got 4 and 1 down. Rather than doing it like that, having 4 down and then going to 1. I find it much more efficient to keep 4 and 1 down, or if you want to use 3 and 1, I guess you could, but I think 4 and 1's better because you've got 3's busy on the C over here, so you chunking the C chord there, and then you get the fourth finger ready. You can just hold one down from that previous C, like that. So that's that slur, and I think that's probably the one you're talking about. The rest of them are pretty standard, I guess. Just 2-note slurs there. So, hey, how about we analyze this piece a little bit? This is a really interesting piece. I'm actually robbing myself of practice time, but I'll just analyze this and then I'll have to wrap it up because I need to actually practice. Or maybe if you don't mind, I can kind of practice, practice for you, practice in front of you, sort of thing. So yeah, hope that that little demonstration of the slurs was helpful. Let's just do a quick analysis. I think this is such a great piece here. So that's all C major, right? We're in the key of C, and I always say, you want to identify the form first. So this is A, and then B, and then it goes back to A over here. So this is called rounded binary form. This is very common in a dance piece. Most dance pieces are in binary form, in 2 sections. Minuets very often are in rounded binary form, where the A section, or a bit of the A section, or the initial melody of the A section, or part of the A section will return at the end of the B section. So that's what we get here. It's called rounded binary. Very often in the B section we'll get a key change, and that is what we get. We do get some changes through here. Oh, sorry, I got that wrong. The A section comes back here a little bit earlier than I thought. So you can see that melody coming back. So that's step 1, identify the form. Step 2, identify the phrase structure. So here we get 4 plus 4. So we get what's called a period. Question and answer. Notice what I'm doing here. I'm not analyzing anything to do with harmony yet. I like to get a big picture sense of the piece first, because that gives you context. Now I know this is changing key, so that will tell me some different things. In terms of the phrase structure, I'm looking at 4-bar phrases, and I'm trying to see if there are any patterns or any repeats, repetitions, things like that. So then we get, this is another 8 measures, so that there's a rest there, so that's definitely the end of the phrase there. Let me play. So this is called a sentence now. So we have 2 plus 2 plus 4, I would say. That's called a sentence. Short plus long. So that's called a sentence. Also a very common type of phrase. Usually the short units will usually be either a sequence or an exact repeat of each other. So he could have done like something like that, where I just repeated that again. That's a very common type of sentence. Okay, so 2 plus 2 plus 4, and then the long idea. And within this sentence over here, saw modulates to the key of D minor. You can see the C sharp and the B flat. And then over here, he modulates to the key of G major, cadences on the G, and then we go back to the key of C there. Okay, so that explains, I think, the keys so far. There's some interesting stuff that happens later. So we go back to A, very similar to A there. And then we do another kind of A section melody here. That melody comes back. And then we go in this really interesting passage. Very interesting. It's basically going. There's a 5-1, right? Dominant, tonic, dominant, tonic, dominant, tonic, dominant, tonic, and then puts the melody, ba-da-bum bum ba-da-bum bum. He puts that melody in the bass that we heard previously at the end here. He kind of puts that into the bass there. All right, so that's like to me, like an overview of the piece. I could go, every single chord. I can do it. I'll do it for you if you want. So this is let me change the color. I'll do it really quick. Normally I get people to think, I'll ask people like, what is this chord? And I'll just do it. Okay, so it'll be just fast. So this is a C chord, except that. That is, hopefully you recognize that if you're a guitar player. That's a diminished chord. So you can bring that out, right? Bring that diminished chord out. Then he goes to the dominant. We get a G7, the 5 chord. Then to C chord. And then G7, C, G. Ending on the 5 chord, that's called an imperfect cadence. And what that does is it leaves you wanting, it ends like unresolved. You need the completion. Essentially, you feel like you need to continue. If he ended with a perfect cadence, it would feel more closed, right, at the end. But he ends on an imperfect cadence. Then we go to here, to B section. We get a bit more interesting harmonic movements. We start on G7, and then we go to C. Tension, resolution. And then we do a very similar thing, but D minor. That is a C sharp diminished 7th chord. C sharp diminished 7th, C sharp, E, G, B flat. That moves to a D minor chord. Nice. Tension, resolution, and it's going to minor, so it's G, C major, D minor, very sad. And then we start to head back to, this effect could be, there's a, Fernando Saw in his method book describes parallel thirds could be oboes. So it could be a nice effect to play this really Ponticello, like right at the bridge, right here. And go. And bring out this nice effect. We have this C major, D minor, tasto, sad, and then sounds a bit extreme maybe to you, but I have a lot of evidence to suggest that that would be exactly how they would think, rather than playing it all. It's a little, come on, that's a bit boring, really. So add some life to it, look at the keys, then we go back to C. Is that diminished chord again, and then back to that. And then we go back to this again. This time he ends it, so it's all C major up until there, and then we get a C minor. There's a chromatic movement in the bass and chromatic movement in the treble, and he goes to C minor, and then he goes to a D7 chord, and then that D7 chord continues here, and that goes to G. D7 likes to go to. So this would be a strong bar, and this would be a weak bar. You could think of it that way. Tension and resolution, right? Strong, weak, and then we go from C7 to F, same thing, strong, weak. Then we go from B7 to E major. And then we go from A7 to D. And then D likes to go, if you make D into a, dominant, it would like to go to G, and that kind of goes to G, to G7, and then C. And then we get this little cadence, 2-5-1 at the end, D minor, G7, C. Okay, so very standard harmonies, but very masterfully composed, very well crafted harmonies. Yeah. So, what do you think? Does that help? Do you find that kind of analysis helpful? Notice how with most of the analysis points, I tried to do something with it, where I said it changes keys, like a change of mood, change of tone color. When it's a change of harmonies, it is tension and resolution, strong, weak, that kind of thing. I didn't talk about the phrasing, but I talked about the phrasing, like periods and sentences, but what does that do? How does that help you? Well, if you know where phrases start and end, do I need to say how that helps you? I think you know the answer. I think you know where phrases start and end, so you know where to take a bit of time. You know how to punctuate the music. It's really important to do that. So yeah, so there's a little analysis of Soar's Minuet there from Opus 25. Thanks for the question, Frankie. I hope that helped. So now I'm going to practice now. I know in the title I said, warm up with me, slurs and things. I just don't have. You have many bonuses. Yeah, my pleasure. I'm just gonna practice because I do have a concert coming up in like 9 days. So my program, I'm playing a lot of Bach and some other Bach inspired pieces. So I'm just going to play a few of those for you. Okay, the first piece on the program that I would like to practice. Well, I'm not going to play the whole program because I don't have much time, but why am I getting my capo? I don't need my capo. I need my foot pedal. First piece on the program that I'll be playing, I'm going to kind of surprise the audience, is Tears in Heaven, arranged by Hirokatsu Sato, and it's very much, especially towards the end of the piece, it's very much inspired by Bach. You hear this kind of thing there, and it really reminds me of that prelude, which is what I will play next in the actual concert. But this piece, for me, is a little bit newer on the program, and it's got all these different sections. One of the challenges I find with this piece is it's got all these different sections, almost like a little mosaic of ideas, and I find it a little bit challenging as a performer to kind of weave from one idea to the next and keep it, keep a sense of unity and cohesion through it. So that's my challenge. So I'm gonna play it for you. Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton, arranged by Hirokatsu Sato. All right. I was pretty happy with that. I thought, I guess it's in the middle of the piece. I'd love to know your thoughts. What did you think? What do you think of the arrangement? What do you think of the performance? Did it kind of make sense to you? Were you able to follow? Were there any bits that kind of made you question a little bit? I was quite happy with that. I think it's really important that the end of it is very triumphant. I think that's what I got. Yeah, every time I perform a piece, I kind of learn something new about it. So, or every time I play a piece, yeah, kind of learn something new. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. Tears in Heaven by Hirokatsu Sato, arranged by. Yeah, and then so in the program after that, after the beautiful ending, then I'd go into. I'm going to go into that, but for time's sake, I won't do that today. Instead, I'm going to play another arrangement. A lot of it, I mean, when you play Bach, it's all arrangements, right? Really. So this is Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring. And this is an arrangement by Paul Brooks Horn. He's a fantastic composer, writer. He writes books and arrangements, does arrangements and compositions, original compositions. And this is his arrangement of Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring. So here we go. I like to use a capo for this piece, just gives it a bit of a brighter color. That's, a bit more clarity perhaps too. going right now. Beautiful arrangement of Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring. And what I really enjoy about Paul's arrangement here is that it's not super difficult to play. Some of the arrangements of this, they're really difficult to play. Yet I think he keeps a lot of the substance of the piece. You know, it's still really nice to play. It's simplified. It's a little bit simplified, more simplified than some of the other arrangements, but I don't think any less satisfying to play. So next I will play this piece. This is called The Tide. It's by Eli Kennis, and this was inspired by a Bach prelude. We spent a little while composing preludes in the style of Bach on the Creative Classical Guitarist. So this was Eli's result. Beautiful, beautiful prelude. See if you can guess which prelude this is based on as well. Beautiful composition there based on Bach that was composed by Eli Kennis. He's a very young, talented guitarist, composer, percussionist, pianist, cellist from the UK. I suggest you can check out his YouTube channel, Eli Kennis. You'll also see his very talented younger sister as well, Nuri. So there's a beautiful piece there, a pretty extraordinary. I think, very nice to perform that. I haven't performed that in public yet, so this is, I guess, the first time, in a sense, on YouTube. Okay, we might have to wrap it up now with one more. So I'm going to play, one of the pieces I'll be playing in the program is Spring the first movement of Spring by Vivaldi. And this arrangement is by, I cannot say his name, I cannot pronounce his name. Anyway, he's the guy who runs the Los Angeles Guitar Academy. He's done some fantastic arrangements. Emre Sabun Kuoglu, I can't say his name. Los Angeles Guitar Academy, I suggest you check him out on YouTube, Google. Really great arrangements, quite advanced, a lot of them that I've seen. So this is Spring. I think you'll recognize this by Vivaldi. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that little sample of pieces. I'm sorry my title today didn't end up being what I actually went through. I did a little bit of slurring, but then we looked at Saw's Minuet, question from one of our watchers here, from Frankie. And then I did really want to prioritize my actual practice, which I'm preparing for a concert that's on next week here in Florida. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment anytime. It's all good. I do read all the comments, and love getting questions. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.